Now Wuhan is getting back to normal, officials said they could correct initial mistakes in the recording of deaths. But such a dramatic revision may do little to soften skepticism of China's numbers.
The long-term one is how to end the cruelty of COVID-19. That's likely to be through a vaccine which the government's chief scientific advisor has warned is many months away. Scientists at Oxford University say they will have 1 million doses of a possible vaccine ready by September, but there's
in the outbreak. But look what happens if you relax the lockdown. Suddenly the rate jumps right back up again.
Here, figures released this evening show that a further 26 people with COVID-19 have died. It brings the total number of deaths in Ireland to 1,087. There were 701 new confirmed cases, bringing the total number of infections here to 19,262.
Phase 2 of the easing of COVID-19 restrictions comes into force tomorrow. Many shops will open while people's travel area has been extended from a 5-kilometre radius around your home to anywhere within your own county or 20 kilometres from your house, whichever is further. Groups of up to 6 can meet outdoors or indoors while observing social distancing. Details on all the changes can be found on gov.ie. Police in the UK say they've launched an investigation to identify those who toppled a statue during anti-racism protests in Bristol. A controversial memorial to slave trader Edward Colston was thrown into a river, and in London protesters in Parliament Square defaced a statue of Winston Churchill. Tens of thousands of people have joined demonstrations worldwide following the death of George Floyd in the US.
The more we increase movement in our country and the more we increase risk of making ourselves or other people sick and seeing deaths rise in our country. If we want to save lives, we do need to follow the public health advice really closely.
From next week, anyone with a fever, cough or shortness of breath will be eligible. That's a change from the current guidelines, which state only people in at-risk groups with 2 symptoms can get tested. Boris Johnson will be back at work on Monday after recovering from coronavirus. It's almost 2 weeks since the British Prime Minister was released from hospital. Downing Street says he's now raring to go and will be getting back to his normal schedule. He hosted a summit with advisors yesterday at his official country residence, Chequers. Spain's Prime Minister says people will be allowed out to exercise from next Saturday if the number of new coronavirus cases continues to fall. Spaniards have been living under one of Europe's strictest lockdowns for 6 weeks now. They're only allowed out for food, medicine and essential work, but not to exercise. May 5th has been targeted by one of the country's largest hardware store chains. Woodies DIY is hopeful it'll be allowed to reopen stores on a limited basis. The company was inundated with orders when it attempted to expand its online setup. It says around 6% of orders won't be fulfilled as a result of disturbed supply chains. In sport, the Premier League is nearing a return. Games look set to resume behind closed doors in June, with more talks planned between the English top flight and the UK government next week.
Good evening, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 7 o'clock. Donegal has been placed on level 3 restrictions for 3 weeks following a spike in coronavirus cases. There's been more cases per 100,000 in the county than any other county over the last week. The restrictions will be the exact same as are currently in place in Dublin, but pubs that don't serve food will be allowed to stay open with outdoor service only. The restrictions come into effect from tomorrow until October the 16th.
Crossing the highway late last night. Didn't look left, didn't look right. Didn't see the station wagon car. Squashed the skunk and there you are. You got your dead skunk in the middle of the road. Dead skunk in the middle of the road. You got your